The problem that Pat Riley and Phil have is that when they coached, Pat Riley in the 80s and early 90s, and Phil in the 80s, late 80s and 90s and 2000s, is that teams control where players went. This is a different era. This is a different time. Players control. They like each other, say, you know what, I want to go play with you. Kevin Durant says, you know what, I want to go play with Steph Curry. See, as long as Pat Riley and Phil Jackson can control the chess pieces, they're fine with them being on the board. But all of a sudden, that dynamic does not exist now. You know, Phil can't help himself but to make comments about other teams and other players on those teams. He's talking about the Golden State Warriors. You can't win a championship shooting jump shots. Why do you care? That's not your team. You don't coach them. You're not the GM. You're not the president, the owner. Why do it bother him so much? Why does he feel he needs to weigh in on every situation that someone doesn't ask him about? Worry about that outdated box that you call a triangle that doesn't work unless you got 4 or maybe the top 10 players that's ever played. I want to read you something from excerpt from Phil Jackson's book in 2004, and this is what he said. And when you hear it, it's up on the screen. In the Cleveland game, I was impressed with LeBron James, who made strides since we played the Cavs during the exhibition season. Yet, as talented as the kid definitely appears to be, I don't believe he or any 19-year-old should be playing in the NBA. These young men grow so dependent on their posses who fetch their cars, their girls, and they can't possibly develop into mature, self-sufficient human beings. One day, I'm convinced we'll find out the true extent of the psychological damage that's being caused. He said this in 2004.
He wrote it.
He wrote it. He said what he said to Jackie McMullen maybe a couple of weeks ago. So in 2004, in 2016, he got to see firsthand, up close and personal, what LeBron became. He also saw, quote unquote, his posse, Rich Paul, who is an agent, who's LeBron agent. He also happens to be the agent of Ben Simmons, John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, Tristan Thompson. That's pretty good. Maverick Carter is LeBron's business partner, handled all of his endorsement deal. So, quote, that posse, those hanger-ons, LeBron offered them a hand. He said he met Rich Paul in the airport, had a Warren Moon jersey on. They exchanged information. Hey, he fired his representation, hired Rich Paul, gave Maverick Carter an opportunity. LeBron extended the hand, they reached their hand up, and they pulled themselves up together. LeBron is in a very unique perspective that he was able to do that. So even then, the way he viewed them, they've become a successful business manager and a successful agent. And he still views them in the very same light, knowing what they became. If you want to say that, because because the posse is a derogatory term, because you're assuming that everybody that hanger-oners, they offer him nothing. They can provide him with nothing. Even though he wrote this in 2004, here we are in 2016. He knows what LeBron became, a 4-time MVP, a 3-time champion. Skip, I don't think there's any psychological damage done, do you? Okay, those hanger-oners, that posse that he so eloquently stated in 2004 became a very major player, an agent in the NBA. Maverick Carter is LeBron's business manager. They also represent other players. So clearly, that just goes to show, no matter how high you go, no matter what you accomplish, they still see you in that light. I'm not saying Phil Jackson's a racist. I'm just saying how he views people. He views them, because here's the thing. If I view somebody today and they change their entire way, and I still view them that same way 12 years later, I got a preconceived idea of what that person and who that person is. That's the sadness of it. My grandma used to say, son, you got to work twice as hard to get half as far. After all what LeBron has done, after all what he's meant to the NBA, to what Rich Paul has been able to accomplish, what Maverick Carter has been able to accomplish, Phil Jackson sees those young, successful black men in the very same light he saw them in 2004, and it's 12 years later, and that's the saddest part of it.